Good evening. We have a quorum, and we'll be conducting the business of a republic with our future representatives answering questions from us. I am Jonathan Tromm, as president of the Galveston Alliance of Island Neighborhoods, also known as GAIN. It is my pleasure to welcome you to the Galveston Mayoral and City Council Candidate Forum. GAIN was founded on the principle that an economically strong, livable community begins with vital neighborhoods. GAIN is an independent collaboration reflecting the island's diversity of income, ethnicity, neighborhood, architectural design, and lifestyle. First, I want to thank my co-chair in organizing this event, Brent Blackett. And it would not have been possible to happen in as good of a manner without him. Thank you very much. Our forum moderators tonight will be Kimber Fountain. Kimber is the editor and feature writer of Galveston Monthly and Galveston Parrot. She was recently awarded silver for Best Local Writer in Galveston.com's 2015 Best of Galveston Awards, and currently serves as chair of the Arts and Historic Preservation Advisory Board to the City Council. And George Lee. George is an inductee in the Texas Playwrights Hall of Fame, host and writer of Electric Theater Radio Hour, frontman and songwriter for the Noise Poets Band, fine artist and owner of G. Lee Gallery, children's book author and illustrator. Take it away.
Oh, okay. I thought it was him. Thank you very much for coming out to see the GAIN Forum. It happens every couple of years, just like a plague or something. And it's like, you know, what, if they change the term limits, I guess it'll be like every 3 years. And that's an odd number, which fits this group perfectly. Don't they look lovely? Yes. So well behaved. We're going to be asking tough questions like, who's the current mayor? Who knows? You must all be DOIs. Well, now, Kimber has explained this very straightforward, organized, you know, OCD. Should be the right on? Should be the right on? But don't be nervous. It's okay. She like a sister coming in a little older, of course, but look at this group. Wow. And of course, right dead center there is the lady now with 3 names. Terrilyn Tarlton Shannon. Congratulations, Albert. What took so long? Now, of course, we do have the unopposed candidates here, and they'll be participating to tell you what they've done. What really, I think they ought to just tell you whatever they want with their 2 minutes. But these are the ones we're going to be watching. And watch out for that District 3, like we got Mr. Congeniality down there, Ralph McMorris. Or was it Miss Congeniality? It was in Atlanta, right? That's right, yes. Well, we won't image problem, but we're going to fix that because John Ferguson's from the Galveston News right over there. Yeah. Oh, how about that? Why don't you come up here? So, we're going to get started here in just a minute. Our timekeeper's out front. And one thing we will do now, if we ask you guys a specific question and somehow we get something different, like a non-answer, we will more than likely interrupt you in a very nice and gentle, politically correct way and say, could you answer the question? But I don't think that'll be a problem because they all signed a little form that said, I am honest and I only make up the truth. So we're going to be fine. We got a trust factor here. We're going to be fine. Thank you.
We're going to be fine.
There you go. Now you know it is because you trust her. All right. Is Miss Timekeeper? Yes. Can we start off now with the questions? Let's just launch right into it.
We should probably explain the rules first to our lovely candidates.
Jonathan didn't explain the rules.
What's going on? He did not.
You mean we had rules?
Well, we did. Well, guidelines. We'll call them guidelines.
Okay, that's exciting stuff. You do it.
All right. So for our opposed candidates this evening, each one of you will have 2 minutes for an opening statement and 30 seconds to answer each question that you are presented. Then at the end of the forum, you will have a chance for a 1-minute closing statement as well. For our unopposed candidates, throughout the evening, we're going to come to you just to kind of shake things up a little bit. You will have 2 minutes to make a general statement, and then we will ask you one question towards the end of the forum as well that you'll have 30 seconds to answer. And I believe that's it. Is everybody ready? All right.
I don't know, we're going to go ahead anyway.
Let's do it.
I get the first question.
You get the first question.
This is really cool because the first question is on page 3, and they're color-coded, blue and pink. Pink is for girls and blue is for me. Why did you laugh? Okay, I'm sorry. All right, we're gonna roll right into it now that you've done the rules. We all understand. All right, here we go. This is clearly labeled. This is for the mayor. It's for all of the. What says that right there?
Yeah, it does say that right there. It's highlighted.
Yeah, but I wanted to read the detail part. It said Mayor D1 and D3. That's District 1, District 3.
Fantastic.
Can I go?
You can.
Next time I ask you a question, don't interrupt with an answer.
Next time, ask the right question.
Apparently we're married, nobody told me. All right, here we go. In February, a guest column of the Galveston Daily News speculated that the city is losing.
Actually,
that's not
George,
correct.
I have to interrupt you because we didn't let them give their opening statements yet. So we should.
Would you let me
do
go
that
right
first.
into the questions?
I didn't realize it was.
Who is watching me?
That's supposed to be my job, and I'm failing miserably. All right, so
Well, they won't recognize me.
let's just start at this end of the table over here with Mr. Frank Maceo, running for District 3. Mr. Maceo, you have 2 minutes for your opening statement.
Can you guys hear me okay?
You gotta use the
Closer
mic.
to you.
Gotta use the mic.
And hold it up to your mouth.
All right. Hello, everybody. Good evening. My name is Frank Maceo. I live on the east end of the island. I was born on the island, went to high school on the island, and I own Sand Dollar Beach Service, the rollers and chairs on the beach. I've been working that beachfront since I was 15 years old, with a little brief time in the Marine Corps. I joined the Marine Corps. I came back and bought the business from Leroy Nashke. I don't know if you guys remember him. And I was in business for about 7 years on this island. I found that doing business on this island was pretty difficult, and I got a little frustrated with it. Ended up going to Texas A&M, getting my third mate's license from the Texas Maritime Academy over here in Tarris Woods. I'd like to see Galveston make some changes. I'd like to see more opportunity for my generation. I'd like to see better education, and I would like to see an increase in the young middle class coming back to this island. Most of my friends from high school are gone and never to return, and I just don't like that. I don't like that. I like to see kids graduate high school, go into the community college, learn a trade, and stay here on the island. And that's going to be my goal when I'm elected. Thank you very much.
Good evening. My name is Jim Yarbrough. I'm currently the mayor, and I'm here for primarily one reason, to ask for your support and your vote May 7th for re-election. You know, during campaigns, and especially 2 years ago, during campaigns you get a lot of clutter. There's lots of questions, there's lots of forums, there's lots of opportunity to answer questionnaires, and so you get a lot of answers and a lot of clutter. But one thing that I think, when I look back on the 2014 election process, there were 4 areas that I made consistent commitments to the people at every forum and every opportunity. One was that we would bring civility, we would bring a professional, a working together environment at City Hall. We hadn't had that in some time, and that was a high priority, and we've accomplished that. And that's not to say we always agree. There's rarely 7-0 votes. There's a lot of 4-3 votes, quite honestly. But it's done in a civil and professional way that hopefully you can be proud of. The second thing, I made a firm commitment to every group that I would work with the city council to hire a competent and qualified city manager. Because as you remember at the time, we were working under an interim city manager environment. We've done that. Brian Maxwell is doing an outstanding job. And probably the most important thing Brian Maxwell has done in his tenure as our city manager is to continue to hire good people to work for the city of Galveston. The third thing I made a commitment to you would be that we would aggressively put into action FEMA, non-housing CDBG, and the city's capital improvement plan. Folks, you can barely drive around town without hitting a detour sign, and it's going to get more congested. And the fourth thing I told you, which we'll talk more about as we move into the program, was that we would clean this city up. The aesthetics have improved. They're not perfect, but they have improved, and we'll get better. Thank you.
Candidate for District 1.
Hello, everyone. I'm going to cheat and use my phone. Sorry. My name is Carmen Bly. I've lived here since I was 6 years old. We moved here. My parents were military, so I was born overseas, but I moved here when I was 6. I've gone to Galveston schools throughout. I graduated from High in 1988, went to Galveston College, got an associate's degree, went to work for Galveston EMS, worked in UTMB ER. Basically never left the island. I love this island. And met my husband, married him in 95 in Ashton Villa. And I say we decided to stay, but really I decided to stay. And after Hurricane Ike, and we lived in League City for a year, he decided that Galveston really was home for him too, so he was on board after that. We have 3 kids, 18, 15, and 14. My oldest is at San Jack in Nacogdoches. My middle child is at Ball High, and my youngest is at Austin Middle School. She'll be on next year. I'm new to politics altogether. I'm really nervous up here, so excuse me if I start shaking anything. But new to politics, and really my community service so far has been, I work with Galveston County Food Bank. We do a food distribution. I've worked in the pantry there. And I've really enjoyed working in the community, and I kind of see this as kind of broadening what I have been doing on a really small scale, and I know that I have a lot to learn. This is a community that I love, and I want to give back to it, and I hope to be able to do that.
Steve Kalbaugh, running for District 3.
Good evening. I also want to ask for the citizens of District 3's vote on May 7th. And I'm from New Orleans. I was born and raised in New Orleans, went to LSU, ran track for LSU, and went through Hurricane Katrina, just like the citizens here went through the storm of 1900 and Hurricane Ike. And I arrived here in 2009, and I immediately fell in love with Galveston. Just like New Orleans, New Orleans and Galveston are very similar. We come from Spanish and French explorers. We have a will to persevere. We've been through great storms and hurricanes. Here in Galveston, we've also had gambling that was taken away. We had Mr. Mitchell, who brought a rebirth to Galveston. And then Hurricane Ike, which has allowed us to rebuild Galveston even greater. And today we have a great opportunity to move our city forward. And the council and the mayor has us on the right track. And I want to be on the council because I want to serve our community and make a difference in Galveston. When I arrived in Galveston, I immediately got involved in the community. I was on the Arts and Historic Committee for the City of Galveston, and I also became a board member on the Galveston Chamber of Commerce, which I served all the way through this last year. And then I got involved with being on the Tourism Development Advisory Committee, and then on the Park Board. I'm currently the chairman of the Park Board. And what I wanted to mention to the citizens of District 3 is that I want to be your voice. The council person's #1 job is to look at the issues and to vet the issues with their district. And I want to vet the issues with our constituents. And then when I make a vote on the Galveston Council, it's going to be doing what's right for the district and for the city of Galveston. Thank you.
Ronnie Maceo, candidate for District 1.
Hello, and Ronnie Maceo. Okay? I'm not a public speaker, and I'm not a politician. I'm a business owner in District 1, and I also live in District 1. Okay? When my neighbor's streets flood, mine do too. We need to do something to correct this. I employ within the district, from the dishwashers to my drivers to my spice packers. I know the district and I can win. There are a few points that I'd like to touch on. First is security. I want the children and the elderly to be safe without fear of being mugged, robbed, and harassed. Some of the other districts, this is not an issue. District 1, we have an issue. We need more streets, lights. A proven fact is, more lights, less crime. I support a well-staffed, proactive police department and a well-equipped fire department. And I'm pro-business. What I want to do is what District 1 needs. At this moment, I'm talking to everybody in my district. I got more people coming in my store that I've never seen. Okay, I got 10 seconds. Okay. I'm running to see if I can do something for District 1, and I would appreciate your vote May the 7th.
Next, we will hear from Sean Cameron, candidate for District 3.
Good evening. My name is Sean Cameron. Many of you don't know me as I'm a relatively newcomer to the island. I'm proud to call Galveston my home. For the past 20 years, public policy has been an integral part of my life. I have a master's degree in public administration. I have written and administered multi-million-dollar grants involving multiple agencies and hundreds of people. I am incentives. I have a passion for effective city government. My campaign platform is simple and straightforward. First, infrastructure. Without a firm and solid foundation, Galveston cannot attract the economic development and prosperity it deserves. Second, effective and sound public policy. Effective government requires policy that is equal, all-encompassing, uniform, absolute, and forward-looking. And lastly, common sense. This is something so simple yet always seems to go by the wayside. This is the backbone of effective city government. To address one problem while ignoring the other is what fractures and divides great cities like Galveston. I want to bring common sense back to government. I'll bring my experience, passion, and energy to every council discussion and vote. I'll build consensuses that ensuring that all voices on this island are heard. I will focus on improving infrastructure that will encourage growth, that will attract and accommodate economic development. I'll implement public policy that protects and promotes historical and urban neighborhoods alike. I'll advocate for uniform and common sense zoning and ordinances that complements, preserves, protects, and encompasses the diversity of this extraordinary island as uniquely Galveston and the quality of life its citizens deserve. Once again, my name is Sean Cameron, and I'm asking for your vote on May 7th. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from Tarris Woods, current councilman for District 1. Excuse me.
Good evening. Anyone hear me? Everybody hear me? Good evening. All right. Like the mayor stated earlier, primary reason why I'm here tonight is ask for your vote and support. But I also want to utilize this time to thank Gang and also to thank each of you for coming out and taking time out of your busy life to come out to this meeting to hear exactly what the candidates are going to say about things that they plan on doing. But I also would like for you to hear what individuals have to say about things they have done. To me, that's more important. When you have given over 36 years of your life to a city that you love, when you have served on different committees, boards, trying to help the city that you love, that's important. It's not a fly-by-night. You don't have a nightmare one night wake up the next morning and say, I'm ready for city council. It's a long thought-out process. In 2008, I was elected to Galveston City Council. And most of y'all realize that 6 months later, Hurricane got hit. Totally devastated this island. And I've been on a mission since that time. Although you may see many things that we have done over the last 7 years, but there's much, much more things that we need to do here in Galveston. So again, I would like to thank you all for coming out tonight, and I would ask for your vote and support to continue, that I may have the opportunity to complete my mission. Thank you.
Next will be our other opponent for the mayor, Bill Quiroga.
I'm going to do this a little bit differently. I'm not going to state my name, I'll do that at the end, but I'm going to give you a little background where I came from. I'm a graduate of Lamar University. My background is engineering. Can you hear me now? Sounds like a commercial. Can you hear me now? I graduated from Lamar University from the School of Engineering. I had 2 degrees. Most of my career has been in the private sector. I've done many, many budgets, 3-4 times bigger than the city's budget. One of the reasons I threw my name in the hat is I think that we're going in the wrong direction. But that's my opinion, and I'm going to try to convince you that I should be the mayor and dethrone the present mayor. But one of the things I want to tell you is I came here to serve, not to be served. We have a lot of money coming into the city, grant monies, and we're also looking at different projects. Some of those projects, money should be diverted and come back to the neighborhoods. Lighting, security, those type of issues, beautification. Case in point, we have one job that is the replacement of the old fire station. That's going to run close to $10 million. Coming from the field of engineering, I can go in there and inspect the building. We can do a renovation for 2. The rest of that money can come back to the neighborhoods. So these are the things that we need to think about. There's a lot of money being spent, and there's a lot of projects that shouldn't be, in my opinion, spending that kind of money for it, and it should be converted back to all, not just the East End and West End, but all neighborhoods. Second thing I wanted to do is see what we can do for economic development. We need diversity. We have hospitality, but we need more job growth in the technical industry. Thank you.
Next is Mr. Ralph McMorris, current councilman for District 3.
Can you hear me? Okay. I think the most important thing you folks need to do is when you select your representative going forward, is look at their track record. And when I ran for this office 2 years ago, I ran on my track record. My track record at that time was, since I got here the second time in 2001, was the East End Historic District, and I became board member and vice president of that organization. I then served on the Gain Neighborhood Organization in 2007, vice president in 2008 to 2010, president in 2010 to 2012. This is the island-wide neighborhood organization that we're enjoying their efforts tonight. I served after Hurricane Ike on the Hurricane Recovery Committee. I was the Economic Development Co-Chair. I served on height and density ordinance leadership in 2007, representing the neighborhoods. I was an advocate for the 4B sales tax. That was a business interest. I advocated advocated the seawall parking ordinance. I advocated for UTMB's restoration after Hurricane Ida. In 2001, I purchased the ice cream factory called Purity Ice Cream, and that's where my business is. And I've enjoyed Galveston and growing that. So this is just some of the stuff I've done. What I've accomplished in the last 2 years that I'm really proud of is participated and helped the Neighborhood Revitalization Fund grow to $5 million, which we're working on allocating now. I initiated the Save the Galveston Beaches. The trolley's coming back from a committee that I initiated. We've started curbside recycling, and downtown renovations are coming. Thank you.
Cornelia Harris Banks, candidate for District 1.
Good evening. If you're sitting here tonight, it means that you want answers. You're here because you care about the city, and you care, those of you who are from District 1, you're here because you want to make sure that I, Cornelia Harris Banks, cares about District 1 and the city. You want to make sure that I'll bring real solutions with me, from me, to the office of City Councilman. If you will elect me as your public servant, I will serve this district and the city of Galveston and the needs of its people. I am an experienced leader, dedicated to the quality of our neighborhoods. As an educator, I was devoted to children. As a former council member, I have focused on Galveston's greatest needs, families living safely in healthy neighborhoods. And as a citizen, I have brought my strong family heritage of service to focus on a better community. Vote for Cornelia Harris Banks, May 7th.
Thank you, everyone. We're going to go ahead and present a couple of questions to the opposed candidates, and then we will hear from one of the unopposed candidates after that. Some of the questions are for the entire panel up here on the stage. Others are specific to the mayor's seat and district seats. So take it away, George.
Okay, and thank you, everybody. Those were excellent opening remarks. I don't recall ever hearing such enthusiasm and such good reasons for each one of you. Thank you. All right. In February, a guest column of the Galveston Daily News speculated that the city is losing out on over $11 million in revenue from the Port of Galveston via its current contract, settling instead for an annual payment of only $188,000. Historically, this is an issue that has been ongoing since the 1940s. What is your perspective on the city's relationship to the port? Is the city justified in expecting our port to contribute more to the tax rolls? And let's start at this end with Cornelia Banks.
Well, I personally think that we should feel that our ports, that, you know, from the past, we looked to our ports to help the citizens and our government. Now, because we are pretty much involved in other areas in the government making money for us, the one thing that the port has done is try to expand itself in different areas in order to help. For instance, the new, bringing the cars, the Mercedes, I think they're Mercedes-Benz cars that are now being able to be shipped to Galveston. Anything that we bring should help. Yes.
Ding, ding. Thank you, Cornelia. While we're on the subject of District 1, let's go to Amy Bly and get your answer.
I know with the port, and again, new to politics, the big idea is to build there and to try to get more companies, more ships, more cruise ships, more anything in there. As far as the tax base, I was not aware of what comes in. But of course, that's a great place to make some money, and I think if it's there, why not? Why wouldn't we pursue that? So that's my answer.
Okay, Ronnie Maceo.
I support the port. I support the port. I support the port. Yes. And its expansions, and I think we need to give them everything they need, and in return, they'll come back to the city. That's 10 seconds, that's it.
That's wonderful that you're always reminding us you have 10 seconds. That's it. All right, Tarris Woods.
This issue has been vetted by Galveston City Council. It was brought forward by Norman Papoose, and I think that there was several different articles written in the Galveston News from Michael Smith and Norman Papoose on the issue. It was then brought forth in front of council. And my objectives have always been, for as the port was concerned, the jobs that it provided. If you want to continue to live back in 1940, you all go back that way. I am trying to move in that direction. And if that port continues to provide jobs for the middle income families, that's what it's supposed to do, and that's what I'm going to support.
All right, thank you. I'm your friend, remember. Okay, let's go to Bill Quiroga.
I think the port should maintain that revenue to go ahead and hire more people with the port needs. It needs to expand. As everybody knows, we're going to get a vehicular bridge and probably a rail bridge. That's going to open up the port. What I like to see is the port becoming a taxing entity and maybe incorporate the navigation district. It's an asset to the city. It's a building block for the city. It's something for the future. And we really need to support the port. And one thing that I want to do is I will not call the port management parking lot managers. That's rude. You need to be professional. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mayor Yarbrough.
George, you can't really answer this question in 30 seconds. It's probably one of the most important topics of economic development this city has in front of us. If we want to continue like we've done for the past 40, 50 years, then hit the cruise control button. I think the port needs to my knowledge, don't have a master plan for the port facility, much less Pelican Island. We need to determine whether we want to keep the East End a heavy industrial port or whether it needs to be part of a tourism port, more passive. We need to rethink the port and how we do it. It's going to take more than a 30-second answer. If I'm reelected, it will be one of the highest priorities I have is for mayor the next 2 years.
Thank you, sir. Now, speaking of District 3, Frank Maceo.
So I bring ships into Galveston. Well, driving tugboats, I'm bringing the ship in, but I bring ships into Galveston and dock them on a daily basis out on water. And I hear the pilots complain that the port's not deep enough. They can't see the dock to dock the ship at night, and that's a problem. So to ask the port for more money without providing those basic needs that the port has, I think we need to start addressing the problem before we start looking for a solution.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm for growing jobs and growing the port. And right now the port has a great cruise business, and we want to continue to grow that. There's an opportunity to grow oil and gas and shipping there on the port. And then the mayor mentioned that we need to develop Pelican Island as well for the port. And one of the big factors that's coming right now is that the Panama Canal has an opportunity to bring business to Galveston. And we need to have a deep water port so that we can have ships come into Galveston. And so I'm very much for growing Galveston and growing the port.
Thank you. Mr. Cameron.
My opinion is quite simple. Without the port, there would be no Galveston. But the public knows. Sorry.
There you go.
My view on this is quite simple. Without the port, there is no Galveston. But our agreements with the port need to be updated, fluid, and forward-thinking. There needs to be consensus between the city and the port to figure out how that relationship is going to continue and how to bring prosperity back and how to bring the port back. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Ralph McMorris, incumbent.
Can you hear me? Yeah. I backed the proposed charter amendment because you folks own the port. You may not know it, but you own the port. When the port was originally set up, the idea was the port would generate income for the city. I guess the 40s, so what's that, 70 years ago. So the rest of the businesses on this island create jobs and they pay their share of taxes. That business takes in $33 million a year and can only feed back to the city $100,000. So it should answer to the stockholders, not the folks up here.
Thank you, Ralph. Yeah, I think Mayor Yarbrough was very correct. In 30 seconds, it's pretty tough to deal with an issue that complicated and one that important. Historically, Galveston was founded because of the port. It was rebuilt through 1900, all the other hurricanes, and we really need to have one that's alive and kicking and well. Thank you very much, everybody. All right, Kimber.
Yes, sir. Our next question is for the mayoral candidates only. As wonderful as all of the recent infrastructure repairs are, they are all funded by federal and FEMA money. In the early 1900s, Galveston, its residents, and the county managed to complete one of the most monumental civil engineering feats in the history of the United States, the building of the seawall and the grade raising without a dime of federal assistance. And they were able to achieve this at a time 2 years after the Great Storm of 1900 and when the city was bankrupt. What are your plans for increasing Galveston's autonomy, and how do you intend on funding future infrastructure projects when this assistance is no longer available? Mayor Yarbrough?
Yes, so the bottom line answer is there's a couple of ways you're going to finance these. Every year by charter we have what we call a set aside, a certain percent of the general fund. It's up to several $1 million, and we were currently using some of that money to pave streets. As we spend down the federal CDBG money and the FEMA money, and we begin to spend down some of our set-aside reserves, we'll be coming to the people with a bond issue to pay for streets and water and sewer projects that are desperately needed. The beauty, again, about having quality staff is they're putting together not only a capital improvement plan, but a method to finance it over the next 5 to 7 years.
Thank you. Mr. Quiroga?
I think basically what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to use economic development to bring in big corporations. We depend now on the hospitality industry, but we need to diversify. Jobs at the port, many other jobs, maybe a technical job. UTMB, you need to expand. But the only way we're going to do this, I don't like bonds because everybody out there knows that you got to pay them back. So that's a lot of money that we're going to ask the citizens of Galveston, who is now indebted by a big debt we can assume if we don't watch how we spend our money. So basically what we need is we need industry to grow the tax base. So that is the major point that I'm trying to make, is just increase the amount of tax revenues through large corporations coming in on the island, diversifying between both the hospitality and industry.
Thank you. And we were just informed that we are running actually ahead of schedule, believe it or not, so we are going to extend your time limit for answering questions to 45 seconds from now on. All right. This next question is for District 1 candidates.
Okay. You got 15 more seconds. Ronnie, you're going to have to change your 10-second bit. Okay, here we go. Many people who come to Galveston to embark on a cruise ship park their vehicles to the west of downtown in an area that is decrepit and does not in any way represent the best of Galveston. Yet, on their shuttle ride from these lots to the port, oftentimes, this is all people see. Do you have any thoughts on improving these areas to elevate the experience of the cruise ship goers and the reputation of Galveston? And we'll begin with Tarris Woods.
Thank you. Here again, I think that most of you here tonight that have been following government over the last 35 years have seen and heard me constantly talking about the blighted area on the north side of Raleigh. And it's a sad situation when the majority of the development that is taking place on that side of Raleigh parking lots. Well, between 25th Street to 51st Street, and during the days of segregation, that was a booming area. Over there was restaurants, clubs, nightclubs, and what have you. And that's one of the things I'm trying to do, to go back and replant that area, to grow it again, to put shopping centers and restaurants in that area. That would help to beautify that area, what you were talking about. If you want something pretty, put the money there so we can make it pretty.
Thank you, Tarris. Let's go to Ronnie Maceo.
I have to agree with Mr. Woods on that. We need more businesses. We need more business incentives to bring people in to make District 1 a destination. Come to Galveston, you want to see District 1. That's my goal. That's my aim. So I hope that is a good answer.
Well, it's the one we got. Okay, let's go to Cornelia Harris Banks.
Well, I noticed that there are some very blighted areas, but there is beginning to be quite a bit of improvement. Our governance currently now from 25th Street to 33rd has done quite a bit of improvement with economic development. Of course, you know we have the new mixed income area. And with that mixed income area, they're beginning to repair a lot of the infrastructure. Now, our information is that we really are trying to work hard from 33rd to 56th Street on the north side. We have families who have redone their homes, and well, anyway, things are beginning to progress to make it look better for those who pass through that area.
Thank you. And now Amy Bly.
I think we need to start by having all these empty lots, all this, decrepit, use the word decrepit, buildings, fixed up or torn down and made into a green space or into a park. We have new housing that's being built down there. It could serve the visitors as well as having businesses even come in down there to do businesses for the people that are coming in to go on the cruises and for the families that are living down there. So that would be, that's my answer for what can be done down there.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to go to 3 candidates now. Ms. Fountain.
Even though the downtown historic and arts districts are two of Galveston's best and brightest attractions, many visitors to Galveston cross the causeway, take a right turn at 61st Street, and go straight to the beach. What are your ideas and plans for increasing the exposure of our downtown area and drawing more people to the treasures of downtown? Mr. Maceo, we'll start with you.
That's a good question. That beachfront out there is our natural resource. Everything else on that island, on this island, depends on the success of having a beachfront out there. We need to, from a marketing standpoint, we need to go to Dallas, St. Louis. We need to go all the way up Interstate 45, and 4 hours off of each highway that shoots off of that. We need to hit every single town, and we need to have billboards and a very aggressive marketing system to get people down here for this summer, for every summer. I think the park board does a pretty good job. I got 10 seconds. Okay, that's just throwing me off there. I think they're doing a good job, but I think we can do more. Beautification is very important to me, and I think that seawall's a great spot. Done. Thanks.
Let's go to the other end of the table, Mr. McMorris.
I've worked on downtown renovation and funding for the last 2 years. We have a lot of sources for money coming in. I initiated the head tax on the Moderators, and it'll be added to the other events downtown. I think tomorrow we're going to vote on doing that. This money can be reinvested downtown. Our downtown is a diamond in the rough. Other cities would give anything to have the raw buildings that we have, but the streets are broken, the sidewalks are broken, and so that's why we're initiating funding to repair the sidewalks. And we will continue to improve lighting, and then we'll go there to landscaping. You got.
There's a couple of problems there. One, you deal with the city. The second and biggest one is you deal with the Galveston County Health Department. And another issue is when people get into business, they lack the knowledge of what it takes to start that business. They need to have at least 6 to 7 months of capital money or money to support the long duration for the process of electrical inspection, plumbing inspection, and the number of inspections that you have with the county of Galveston. That is the one that I usually have problems with, is the county, not the city. But the city does come out and do its inspection. So if you go and you have your cards lined up, you go to City Hall, you follow their procedures, you won't have a problem.
Thank you. Mayor Yarbrough.
That seems to always be an area of contention that comes up every so often. Progress has been made. One of the things we've done, we approved the land development regulations. So our process and our codes are simpler, easier to understand, and gives our staff more administrative authority where everything doesn't have to come back through a formalized delayed council or planning commission. Another thing that's happened is we've got Rick Vasquez, who's the director of planning. Great people skills, great technical skills, makes all the difference in the world. He too, like Ryan Maxwell, has hired better people with better people skills and knowledge skills in his department. That's beginning to make a difference. We now have what we call pre-development conferences, where if someone wants to come in and develop a building or even a bigger parcel of property, we get all the boys and girls in the room before the permit process ever starts, where the fire marshal and all the component parts of the city can talk and have input. That way, when some mysterious packet of paper comes before them, they will have already understood the project. So those things are helping. We can always do better.
Excellent, thank you. All right, our next question is for our District 1 candidates. Homeownership in Galveston is a key facet of our economy, yet property taxes have risen and insurance rates are continually getting more expensive. Do you support lowering property taxes back down to pre-Ike levels? And what is your plan to achieve reasonable windstorm and flood rates for our homeowners? Amy Bly, we'll start with you.
I'm not even sure I completely understood that question.
Basically, it's getting more expensive to own a home in Galveston because of insurance and flood rates, and also property taxes. Do you support lowering property taxes? And also, do you have any ideas for helping us to achieve a better floodplain regulations to decrease our insurance costs?
Well, as far as the taxes go, always we want to have lower taxes. I paid mine this year and it was not fun. But obviously we need to have tax dollars to do the things we need to do on the island. If we could find another place to get money, that would be great. If we could, I don't know what can be done. And then for the insurance, isn't that federally stuff? Yeah, I'm sorry, I can't really answer that. I don't know the answer to that.
All right, Mr. Maceo, anything we can do about the flooding problem to alleviate these costs?
Actual flooding, if we're talking about our drainage system.
Well, and rates, and insurance rates and how it all
And
affects.
insurance, but that's the beginning of it, is having a city that will drain. It's getting to the point now where rain is a flood downtown, okay? I think there needs to be a stronger lobby with the state of Texas on bringing rates down. I'm not exactly knowledgeable enough to tell you how it's done, but that needs to be done. Terrilyn probably knows more about it, but we need to lower all the taxes for everybody, all the citizens in Galveston. I'm a taxpayer. I have 2 businesses and a property in Galveston. I dread the tax time, okay? As I guess everyone else here. I wish I had the answer.
Thank you.
You'll help.
Thank you, John. Mr. Woods.
Well, I'm not going to dance all around this issue. I think we need to just keep it simple. Number 1, I will lower the property tax, and number 2, I will hire Terrilyn as our lobbyist to go to office. So you won't have a job after the next 2 years, just come by and see us. And you go forward and do the job. So it's just that simple. We agree on that tonight.
It's probably the best time we've heard on that, is what I think, sir.
Oh.
All right, Mrs. Banks?
Yes, of course, like everyone in the room, I'd love to have my property taxes lowered. Luckily and fortunate for me, I did participate with Ms. Terrilyn Shannon with the municipal leagues and League of Cities in helping to lobby other areas in order to make them understand. For instance, the area in New Jersey, I think where the flooding was, to make them understand that we needed everyone who was going through that kind of situation to help bring down the costs for our flood insurance. In fact, our city has a program where when you do X amount of things to make sure that we are doing everything we can to stop or to adhere to the floodplain, then we get points in order to help bring down our costs in the for flood insurance. And then, as he said, go to Terrilyn. She works hard.
Thank you.
I'd like to welcome everybody to this benefit tribute for Ms. Tarlton. Former Ms. Tarlton, T.T. Shannon. Yeah, got to save everything. And of course, we got to come up with a special award for Mr. Agreeable up here, Tarris Woods. You've been a real pussycat tonight. Wow. Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay. This one, this is a good one. This is going to District 3. I'm going to start with Mr. Kalbaugh. Do you support forming a management district for downtown? Why or why not?
I do think that we need to work with the city and the downtown development district to look at a management district. I'm not sure if I'm supportive of an entire management district that has its own taxing powers and those type things, but I do think that having a downtown district management authority could help the downtown area in many ways. And so I am supportive of some sort of a management district, but I would like to, again, with this issue, meet with the partners, meet with the businesses and the community leaders and the council before we put down a final plan on it. But I am supportive of putting together some form of a management district.
All right, thank you. Let's go to Mr. Maceo.
I got to agree with Mr. Kalbaugh on that. That's a really good answer, Steve. However, no, I don't want to say however. just want to add to it. I think just like that seawall, and who knows that seawall better than the seawall merchants, all right? My question is, who knows downtown better than the downtown merchants? And the more input we can have from those guys as far as what they need to expand, to make it out there year round, I think that'd be a fantastic little organization right there, absolutely.
Thank you for recognizing the fact that we are not a charity. Okay, now, Mr. Kimber.
My opinion on this, I have mixed thoughts. It just seems like we're adding another layer of bureaucracy to a city that is kind of mired and steeped in it. I don't really know what that entails, but my gut tells me from what I've heard that if we did create that management district, then their funding would come from all the revenue generated downtown through parking and other fees. My opinion is they definitely should play an advisory role, but as far as any revenue goes, any policies, the revenue should go into the general fund. And again, policies should be vetted through, proper channels. And again, we do not need to fracture Galveston any more than it is. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And of course, Councilmember McMorris.
Well, for once, I agree with 2 out of 3 of my opponents. And I've been working with Trey Cliff, Executive Director of the Downtown Partnership. He really has initiated this idea. We've been working on it, and I've added the fact that we can get the income from these various fees we have downtown, and we do not have to start this off as a taxing district. If it's a taxing district, you have to go back to the state when the state legislature meets, get approval there. But we feel like there'd be enough income coming in managing this and really, helping the city direct these funds. And so, but how it's all set up, this is very early in the game, but I think it's a great idea.
All right, thank you. And for those of you that don't know, the District 3 candidates and the incumbent represent most of downtown Galveston. Kimber.
Actually, it's your turn. We're going to have one question for our unopposed candidates, general one. What is the biggest challenge you feel currently facing your specific district, and how do you intend to improve it during your term? So we'll start with Mr. Dougherty for District 4.
The biggest challenge facing the district.
Microphone, please. Thank you.
The biggest challenge facing the district, it's an unusual district. It's almost entirely residential. I think there's 3 restaurants there. There's, in the whole district, very few businesses. So it's all about residences. And as I said earlier, we need neighborhoods that people feel good about. There are only 2 really organized organizations in the district. Neighborhood organizations, there's 2 of them. And that's pretty bad when there's almost the whole thing is houses. So one of my objectives is trying to get more neighborhood associations to really get some answers to the question like that. What do the people in the district need?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, mine is definitely the neighborhoods. I have some of the oldest neighborhoods in my district, and when the storm hit, a lot of our neighborhoods became not primary neighborhoods anymore, but secondary neighborhoods. And we lost a lot of our middle class. We want to bring back the middle class, and how are we going to do that? We need to reinvest in these neighborhoods. And in 2012, when I ran for office, there was nowhere in the budget that we ever invested in our neighborhood. First year I was in office, we got $7. Second year in the office, we got $1.2 million. This year we've got 2.9, but we can't spend it right now until we get some rules in place. So the goal is we want to make sure we get those rules in place so we can get the money back into the neighborhoods and improve these neighborhoods.
Challenges in District 2. I think the challenges in District 2 are probably challenges that the entire island, especially east of 61st, experiences. We have infrastructure problems. We have drainage problems. We have sidewalk problems. We have curb problems. We have street problems. we have lighting problems. These need to be addressed. It's a challenge not only to get these moving along, but it's a challenge to find the funding. You know, we were very fortunate after Ike. We had a catastrophe with Ike, and it was horrific for a lot of us. But it was also a blessing in disguise because all this money came in to start addressing these infrastructure problems. We're starting to run out of that money. So the challenge is going to be keep the infrastructure to the highest priority is what we want to do, but where are we going to get that money? And that's what we're going to have to put our attention to this coming term.
All right, we are now going to move on to questions from the audience. Several of you wrote your questions down earlier and dropped them in a bowl in the lobby, and we did a blind draw, not really, but we are going to address the unopposed candidates with questions from the audience.
Thank you, Kimber. Now this one, of course, this comes up all the time, and we're going to see if we do it now after, what, I don't know, 6 years of this very similar question. Galveston has been severely lacking sanitary restroom accommodations. Why did I get this one? Because I have drainage problems? Is that, I'm 64, what do you expect? All right, I'm sorry. Galveston has been severely lacking sanitary restroom accommodations on the seawall for several decades. This is for everybody, by the way. What are your ideas for improving amenities on the seawall? We'll go straight down this line, starting with Frank Maceo.
Well, I've been hearing about the need for seawall amenities since I was 15 years old. And it seems like what people want are clean restrooms, showers, and a police presence out there. And I think all three of those things are very important out there. As far as my plan, I'd like to see the city maybe buy up the little triangles at the end of the streets. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that seawall, but pave it, throw some bathrooms out there, throw some outdoor showers out there. As far as anything south of the seawall, I've been told, I've had ideas to throw showers out there and they've always been shot down. I think that might pose a little bit of an erosion problem. If you want to talk to me more, come on down to Maceo's place.
All righty, that was very personal touch. Mayor Yarbrough.
Well, we've been talking about it long enough. We have a contract in place, and $6.5 million is getting ready to be spent, starting right after spring break, which is right now. You will end up with 6 or 7 restrooms on the south side of the seawall. You're going to have transit stops. You're going to have beautification projects, especially on the major intersections. You're going to begin to see some improvements. Again, $6.5 million of primarily federal money doing it. Again, my vision of the seawall would be no parking on the south side of the seawall. Take most of that turn lane out, put in esplanades, put in palm trees, make it safe to go from the north side to the south side and back with kids and umbrellas and stuff. Not putting parking garages on seawall property, but on the block behind and in conjunction with other private sector development. Tillman Fertitta has a place on 27th Street would be ideal, where he has his surface lot for the pleasure pier would be an ideal spot for vertical parking. UTMB has property on 4th Street on the seawall would be ideal for vertical parking. You could go two levels higher on the Galveston garage without any infrastructure additional capacity. There are options available. We just got to think bigger than what we thought in years past.
Thank you, Dave. See, the writer was concerned about where's the parking revenue going. That was part of it. So, Amy Bly, District 1 candidate, what do you think about it?
Following the mayor. Well, I was going to say, work with the Parks Board. I didn't know about this $6.5 million thing, but that sounds great. The Park Board uses the money they maintain and take care of everything on the beaches, and we built something out there on the south side that it's already done. I don't even know what I'm talking about. It's like what I came up with, he already just said. So, yes, the city's doing a fine job. The Parks Board's doing a fine job.
Oh, no.
Told you they were going to be honest. Okay, Mr. Kalbaugh.
Well, this again is something I'm very proud of with being on the park board as the chairman. working with the city, working with the federal and state agencies, working with the county. We're all working together to make this happen. Sidewalks are being improved by the county. The city has done a great job to get monies from the federal and state government to get these improvements on the seawall. And the park board is working to now enter a contract with the city to maintain, not only have those items there, but to maintain and manage it to make sure it's done properly. And we need to also build private partnerships, as the mayor mentioned as well, because we have the opportunity to have the private sector help with these items as well. So we want to continue those improvements. And one thing I do want to mention, that the current councilman, Ralph, started the South Beach project. And overall, I think it's a great project, but we need to listen to our constituents and look at what is the best way to proceed with that project instead of doing it without listening to our constituents.
Thank you very much. We're all big on consensus tonight. Okay, Mr. Ronnie Maceo.
I think you're going to get the same answer from everybody. You put $6.5 million into our beachfront, restrooms, parking, all that. It's going to be, I think it's going to be beautiful. I think it's going to enable more people to want to come to Galveston and enjoy our beaches. I don't know where this fits in, but I watched the 61st Street West Beach improvement. I think it's absolutely out of this world. I'm so proud of it that Kelly DeShawn, the whole bunch of them, I think everybody has done a great job. So let's use that $6.5 million. I'll figure out a way to spend it. I'm a good spender. So that's, I think you're going to hear the same thing all the way down, and I hope everybody agrees with us.
Okay, Mr. Cameron.
I tend to agree with Mayor Yarbrough on this issue, but also, I also think it should be taken a step further. This is a classic example where a capital development plan should be implemented and adhered to. As Frank Maceo said, this has been an issue since he was 15 years old. So what, 45 years later, Frank, it's being addressed? But as long as these things are thoroughly planned, they can become self-sustaining through, through federal grants. But it should be a recurring expenditure, and this also should be something that's always on the forefront. Thank you.
Well, I guess we're going to have to get a rocking chair now for 5 minutes.
For the record.
Good job. Yeah, for the record. Okay, Tarris Woods.
And again, for the record, I agree with the mayor. Y'all agree.
Well, I was short and sweet. Okay, we go with Mr. Quiroga.
Well, I'm glad we need to build the restrooms and the amenities with what we need out of the beach. But as far as parking, I doubt if Mr. Tillman would use a prime piece of property to build a vertical parking lot. That's prime property. And the other thing is the cost. If you build something behind, a block behind, you're going to have the issues, not on my block. You need to move it down the street. And the average cost of building per car is somewhere between $15,000 to $35,000. You know, so you're looking at an astronomical amount of money to build a parking lot. I don't agree with moving everybody off the south side, moving over to the north side. That's a safety hazard.
Okay, that was interesting development. All right, Ralph McMorris.
Well, to make it quick, the mayor's plan is a really good plan. It was first designed back in '83, and I have accused Tarris and the mayor being on that committee, but I think we're bringing it out now. Craig Brown and I also are pushing for the same kind of plan, and so I think it's basically just putting it together and getting the money for it. Makes a lot of sense, and it's a long time coming. I visited Portland, Oregon a couple of times, and took the opportunity to go visit the Portland Louvs, which are scheduled for the seawall, and they have them downtown in there, and they also could be used downtown. We could improve the facilities down there also. So it's going to be a great improvement for us. Thank you.
Thank you. And now Cornelia Harris Banks. They'll catch up with you.
I'll have to be in agreement because I've seen them and they're absolutely beautiful. They're stainless steel, so I'm sure you know that we are spending the right kind of money to make sure that they don't rust. And those are the restrooms that Mr. McMorris is speaking about, and I too have seen them in Portland, Oregon.
Thank you, Cornelia. Yes, sir.
Not political, just one for information purposes. Seawall is going to be repaved also from 39th Street to 6th Street starting literally next week. And it will be done at nighttime. It's a tech-stop driven project. It'll be done at nighttime in an attempt not to interfere with our day-to-day traffic. And they guarantee they'll be finished before Memorial Day.
There you go. That's our mayor, Mr. Toogle. Okay, your turn.
All right, we're going to do one more quick audience question, and then we will have our closing statements for our opposed candidates. Thank you, everyone, for your time and attention this evening. All right, one of our candidates, one of our audience members asked if you were in favor of one council member interviewing for major city boards. Currently, we do have on council a rotating selection where major city board members are chosen by individual council members, and that replaced the selection of these members by the council as a whole. So do you agree with each city council member getting their own individual appointment, or do you believe that appointments should be vetted by the entire council? We'll just start on this end and go down. Mr. Frank Maceo.
I say vet. What's going on? I say vet everybody. I think the city council needs to, as a whole, needs to approve all the appointments. When you start asking each individual council member to appoint their buddies, that's exactly what you get. You get their buddies. I think the city council needs to step up and take responsibility of making sure we're putting the right people based on qualifications and energy and drive into the positions that we're appointing here on this island. So yeah, I'm all for vetting them out, guys.
I would be in favor of vetting changing the park board and the wharf board. A little more complex topics, a little more experience might be needed. But folks, the boards we have, we've had the same people serving on them for years. We need those boards to look like the city of Galveston. Those boards need to be reflective of our population. And so I have no problem with doing it by district, because you get the potential of having different geography, different color, different viewpoints on these boards. I think that's healthy. The wharf board, there's not 7 members to be appointed, so right now the mayor doesn't even get a selection on the wharf board. I think that's inherently wrong. That should have never happened. Park board takes a little special expertise. It's a serious time commitment. I think we need to vet those to make sure the people we appoint have the time to do the job that they're asking for. So I can see both, but I do see some advantages of the individual appointments.
I believe it should be more the council as a whole deciding who's going to go, so we don't end up with, like you say, buddies up there. And I believe we can still get that diversity. We can have gender and race diversity with a council vote.
I'm against the current process. I think it should go back to the previous process, which was nominations, interviews, and then appointment by the entire council in front of the entire council. The reason for that is that we need to vet everyone and make sure they know the time commitment that is necessary for these boards and committees, because it's a lot of work that volunteers have to commit for these committees. And in fact, Ralph, in the current process, appointed someone that didn't even know that he was going to be appointed, and then refused to be on the board, the committee that he was appointed to, and then had to change his appointment to Elizabeth Beaton. And so we need to go back to the previous process. It works, and we shouldn't have changed it.
Okay, thank you. Ralph, you were mentioned specifically. Would you like a 15-second response? Well, any response. Name,
Just a response.
genre, I don't know. Microphone. Huh?
Do it all together. Sure.
Okay.
We'll do it all together. He can have a 15-second rebuttal, and then we'll give you also the chance to answer the question.
First, it's a selection process, and it doesn't matter who appoints them or how they're found. There are exceptions like that, and we were happy with our appointment. I understand the appointment's working well from everybody that I've talked to, and so I don't know what he's really talking about.
Okay, well, that was certainly interesting. Okay, let's go to Ronnie Maceo.
I think a selection is important, and I think the city council needs to be in on every move, and that's the way I see it. Like I said, I'm not the best speaker in the world, but what's right is right, and I think that is the way to go about selecting our
Council as a whole.
council as a whole.
Okay, thank you. Great muffaladas, by the way. All right, now, Mr. Kimber.
I've always believed that daylight is the best antiseptic when it comes to appointments. But however, I see this current system can be streamlined because I believe that the formal vetting, nomination process, interview could actually be a detriment to actually getting business done on these boards. I think the process can be streamlined to where individual council member appointments must be confirmed by the full council as a whole. And I think that would do the best of both worlds. It'd give public input, there would be a vetting process, and it would also prevent, cronyism and favoritism, which seems to be a long esteemed history with some of these appointments. Thank you.
Really? Well, thank you. Okay, Tarris Woods.
Well, normally, I usually brag over the years that I've been going in and out of the city of Galveston politics over the last 36 years. 36 years ago when I started applying for different boards, I was unable to be appointed by any member of council. 1988, we found I had to file a single member district lawsuit in the courts. We are here sitting at this table tonight as a result of that lawsuit. We have 6 districts. There are some in the community that did not like that. Then we moved to the diversification on the boards. There are some that don't like that. But I believe that the board should reflect the citizens of Galveston. And I strongly will continue to support the way that we're doing things now, that each district member has the opportunity to present a candidate to the city council, and we move from there.
Thank you, Tarris. Okay, Mr. Quiroga.
I think that all the appointees should go through council, and I do believe that we need to pick the best, not just because of the color of their skin or whatever their gender is. It needs to be the best qualified people to be appointed to any one of the boards of the city.
Thank you. Mr. McMorris.
Well, the question's a little incorrect, and I think Mr. Cameron actually guessed at what the process is. The process is that each one of the council recommends somebody, and then the council approves it. So I think this takes care of any favoritism that might be undue. Before we implemented this in our current council, the system basically worked that 4 people on council decided who all the members of the committees would be. So that meant 4 people got together and decided for the whole island. The other 3 had very little say in who the committee members would be. So, and secondly, there's been a lot of criticism of this because they want that old system back where they really control those boards. But the new system allows the whole island to participate. And that's a very good system, and nobody really has criticized the specific results of this process. They only want to put the old system back.
All right, we're getting a lot of visitors here tonight. Cornelia Harris Banks.
I have been fortunate enough to see the old and the new system. And I agree with the new system. I want you to know that each and every person, or I should say knowledge is power. And the reason I say that is because everybody can go on the cityofgalveston.org. And we need to go in and look at each one of the qualifications, because in some cases, as the mayor said, there are items that are qualifications that determine whether you are going to be on that board or not, whether or not a person has nominated you. Thank you.
Thank you. All righty, we're getting ready to wrap it up with closing remarks right now. I was curious, is Kelly Deshawn in the audience tonight? Are you here? Well, the park board has been mentioned a lot, and I thought she ought to stand up and take a bow and give a little hand, because she transformed that organization. We're becoming the #1 and #2 destination now as a result of her efforts. So I just thought I'd mention that. Okay, Ms. Fountain.
Yes, sir.
Are we gonna close it down?
Let's close it down.
Here we go. Okay. Would you like to start with them, or how do you want?
They can do closing statements if they'd like. Sure.
Well, we have time for once, so let's start with you. Let's have a closing statement. Microphone is always on.
I look forward to representing District 4. I think Galveston has great potential, as I mentioned earlier in my remarks. We have so many wonderful businesses, educational, a national lab, a brand new hospital. There's just so much going for us here. But we got to figure out how to get people to live here. It's not about how much we pay. It's not about minimum wage. It's not about making too much. There's incredible jobs at UTMB. They just don't live here. So it's almost like, hey, we don't need the jobs. We need people to live here, that work here. And that's just not happening. And if we could just figure that out, it's got to start with neighborhoods and amenities, how they look, code enforcement, how attractive the neighborhoods are. And we've got to crack that. Somewhere in all the discussion in the newspaper about the wharf, I think they said 42% of the wharves and bodies live here. You know, so and that's all over the place. UTMB is probably worse than that on a number. So that's the issue in my mind, is how many people live here.
Thank you.
Didn't work here.
Mr. Dougherty, District 4, and now
District 5. Well, instead of making a closing remark, I just would like to make this statement. This is game, and you are about neighborhoods. So I do want to state something. Please do not let the Neighborhood Revitalization Fund go away. It has been extremely successful. We had 2 years of funding going into the neighborhoods where it's never gone before, or decades have they seen it. And it was an extremely successful project. The $1.2 million came from an IDC grant that was obtained, and I fought for this, and got a revolving door for that. And we were going to take that for this year's council, but instead what we did was we allowed that to still continue to do the sidewalks that it has been doing in the neighborhoods, but doing the matching funds, which is what the neighborhood funding was supposed to become. And we took this $2.9 million money that is at another part of the budget. It's not in the special fund that the first part of the IDC money was. It's in the capital improvement part. So it has to be spent differently. This council was not told that until we got ready to do our projects, and then staff said, can't do it that way. Well, I'm going to tell you something, neighborhoods, you don't deserve that. So please make sure that this district, this city council, and the next city council reinvest in these neighborhoods, and we put funding where it needs to be, is in your neighborhood. Thank you.
Terrilyn Tarlton, District 5, and now Dr. Fred Brown, District 2.
Well, just as a closing statement, it's thank you, gang, for having this forum. It's been an honor serving for District 2 this last year and a half, or almost 2 years. and I'm looking forward to serving again, and I deem it an honor to be your representative. I'm looking forward to input. I have an open door policy. Anytime that you want to give input, I enjoy that, and I'm looking forward to that. And thank you for letting me be your representative, not only for District 2, but representing Galveston also.
Thank you, sir. Now let's go to District 1, and you guys give us your best shot at a closing statement. We'll start with Cornelia Harris Banks.
Thank you again, gang, for having us here. I just wanted to let you know I had a humble beginning at Holy Rosary Catholic Schools and GISD School District and Pepperdine University in psychology, and also a master's degree in school management and administration. I'm a problem solver, creative, proactive, accountable, honest, confident. I'm an encourager, I'm trustworthy and humble. And I say to each and every one of you, vote May 7th for Cornelia Harris Banks. You can bank on Banks.
Very good. Thank you. Tarris Woods. They'll turn it on.
Once again, I would like to take this time to thank Gang and all the citizens that came out tonight to this forum, because you're interested in the government and you're interested in the future and what it may bring. I also like to thank Councilor Banks. She shared all the attributes of a good educator, and it is my profound belief that she would serve good at GISD. But however, as City Council, you need a warrior in the arena. We stand today at a crossroad. We are at 44,000 population. There are certain federal funds that we cannot receive because of that population decline. We need to build it back up. I asked you earlier tonight, I said, tell me what you have done, not what you want to do. I have another candidate that best, her job is commendable, but she served at a food bank. I have another council person that's running, been a businessman, say he's not a politician. But when I look at Council Lady Banks and her record for us 2012, 2014, Council Lady Banks, with all the problems we have in District 1, she only registered 5 items in 2 years for City Council. On the other hand, I have registered over 65 items in less than 2 years. We have concern, 5 compared to 65. And so as I revert back again, we must always look forward to what we are doing, but we still have a long, long way to go. And with your help and your vote, we will continue that progress toward the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tarris Woods, District 1.
But do I get a rebuttal?
Well, yeah, do we have time? 15 seconds?
Well, that's okay.
Okay.
Because we know who lives in District 1.
Okay.
Do I get a
No, she didn't. She didn't. You are. She didn't.
Well, let me just say quickly.
She didn't. She didn't.
It was going to be no comment.
All right,
I'm not going to justify.
You said no comment. Well, there you go.
I'm not
All
going to
right.
justify no comment.
I don't know, that was unexpected. Here you go, Ronnie Maceo.
Again, let me thank everyone for coming out. Let these other people fight amongst themselves. I'm out gathering votes.
Yeah.
I have a good vision for the district. I want to bring it to my district. I want to see, like I said at the beginning, I want to see District 1 a Galveston destination, and that's my plan. Please encourage everyone in all the districts to take advantage and to go vote. That's the main thing, is we've got to get people out to vote. If I were to win, I need all the districts for what I plan on doing in District 1. I need all the districts bringing help to me. And with that, I think Galveston will grow and prosper.
Thank you, Mr. Maceo. And of course now is Amy Bly, District 1 as well.
Thank you. Well, I guess for my closing remarks, I'd like to just say that I'm wanting to do this to serve the community. It's a service to you, not as anything that I would get out of it. I'm not in it for any other reason. I would like to follow Dr. Brown's example, and he's always been very available. I'm part of the Kimber Park Neighborhood Association, and he's always at our meetings. He's always easy to get in touch with. If I have a question, it might be less than 12, 24 hours somewhere. I mean, he's quick to get back to me with whatever the question is. And I'd like to follow that example and represent District 1, actively represent District 1. I'd like to work on, our problems in our district would be the abandoned properties and a lot of stuff that's north of Broadway. As far as the new housing that's going in, having green spaces and making it family friendly. I'm obviously more coming from the family side of it than the business side of it, having a family in Galveston. Not that they don't, but you know what I mean. And we do need to have businesses to, for the people that live here to be able to use, and also for the visitors that come. But I'm not saying I'm anti-business, I guess is what I'm trying to back up and say. But I'm all about improving the neighborhoods and making the people that are here stay here. People that aren't here want them to move here, and for the kids that are growing up here to want to stay here and not go off.
There you go. You've got an amazing item. All right, let's go to District 3. We'll start with Frank Maceo.
I'm going to follow suit and thank everybody for coming. Thank Gang for putting this little event together and giving everybody the opportunity to come out and state their views and let you guys get to know us a little bit. I just want to say, once again, 15 years old, I was on that beach, and Leroy used to tell us, we had a really good crew back then, by the way, he used to tell us, you guys are stewards of the beach and ambassadors for the entire island, all right? And I took that serious. A lot of times these people come down from St. Louis, Dallas, Oklahoma, you name it where they're coming from, and I'm the first one they see. Guy sitting on the beach. They ask me where to eat, where to stay, what to do, what kind of tours to take. I've been an ambassador for this island for a long time, and I want to continue that role. If I don't do anything else, all right, in this little bid for city council, other than motivate my generation to get more involved in city politics, and take a little more interest and a little more concern about the future of this island. If I can do that, I think I'll have succeeded, guys. Once again, thank y'all very much for coming out. And a vote for me is a vote for Galveston's future, and it's an investment in the future of Galveston, guys. So I really would thank you. I appreciate your support, and everybody said May 7th to vote, so I'll be seeing you guys at the polls.
Everybody here, we can certainly see the enthusiasm and the commitment to Galveston and the effort to bring our population back. Okay, Mr. Kalbaugh.
All right, I would also like to thank Gang and thank all of you for being here tonight. And, as we mentioned, it's about our neighborhoods, and District 3 has 4 unique, very important neighborhoods. We have the historic East End, we have Fish Village, we have Lindale, and we have the historic downtown. And each is unique and it's just as important to this city. And I vow to you and give my pledge that I will be the voice for every one of the neighborhoods. There's been a question with being on the park board if I would care more about tourism and about business than about the neighborhoods. I live here, and I love Galveston, and I will represent the district and represent the city in the best way that I can. And I can tell you that if you look at my record, Tarris Woods mentioned earlier, that it's important to look at the record, and so did Ralph, to look at the record of each person up here. Well, I have a record. I have a record on the city's Arts and Historic Committee. I have a history, a record on the Tourism Development Advisory Committee. I have a record on the Galveston Chamber of Commerce, and then also as a member of the Park Board. And if you look at my votes, every single time I did what was best for our city, for Galveston. And I can tell you that if you give me your vote, if I'm lucky enough to get the honor of your vote, that I will represent District 3 and the city of Galveston the best way that I possibly can. I ask for your vote May 7th, and thank you.
Again, I'd like to thank everybody for coming out tonight, and Jane for hosting this wonderful forum. Well, tonight you guys heard a lot of different opinions and different points of view. The one common bond everybody on this stage shares is that we all envision a better Galveston. We all want a better Galveston. How that ends up and what policies are applied are ultimately up to you on May 7th. But however, all these different opinions, all these different points of views, and all these different ideas can, all go back to my simple platform: infrastructure, economic policy, and common sense. Those are the essential backbones of city government. And if we can build a consensus in council and have some forward vision, we can propel Galveston and protect Galveston for generations to come. Again, my name is Sean Cameron, and I hope I have your support on May 7th. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody, for coming here tonight, taking the time to hear us out. We talked about track records, and for 13 years prior to me being on council, I served as a volunteer the neighborhoods. First with the East End, and later with all the neighborhoods on the island, Galveston Alliance of Island Neighborhoods. I then ran for office, and when I ran for office 2 years ago, I told y'all that the comprehensive plan is the plan for the city of Galveston. And this is what I would follow and hopefully lead on. I've listed the items I've already led on, from saving the public beaches, downtown rebirth, which we're now working on, neighborhood revitalization for the last 2 years, which is underway and we're fighting to maintain tomorrow. The trolley return, we finished that one as far as getting it approved. Now they're doing the work to bring it back. Hopefully summer of 17, I'm sorry. But told this morning might slip a little bit. And curbside recycling, we just started that. We had like 80% of the people I called were in favor of that. So we just got to figure out how to do that. And recently we focused on the Seawall Boulevard pedestrian safety. So these are things that are all outlined in this book. But what I'm recommending as we go forward is we as council come together and lead this city on a unified master plan. We can start with a comprehensive plan, we can tweak it, change it, but it needs to stay alive. You can't write it, put it on the shelf, and expect it to ever happen. You have to agree on the vision, and then work together to get there and stay committed and get everybody involved in it. And we as council can do that. Other folks can do it too, but we're sitting in that seat. So let's get together and move out on this.
We'll now have closing statements from our two mayoral candidates. Mr. Quiroga.
I also want to thank everyone for coming out, and all of you that came today. All I can say is thank you, because you all here knows what the city needs. Y'all getting involved with the city. But what I want to tell you is you need to go to the internet and look up all these projects that's being generated, where all the money's going, where you can save without building a brand new building and push that money back towards all of the neighborhoods. That's the key. I come to serve, not to be served. And I appreciate your vote come May 7th. Thank you.
Thank you, Kimber. Apologize you had to work this last hour and a half with George, but we appreciate you.
Ouch! The last hour and a half, it's been like 3. I'm dying.
It's an honor to be your mayor. And I've done this, I've been in this public arena for 30 plus years. Lord knows how many of these forums I've made over the years. That's why I do it. I like being with the people. And my commitment to you is we will continue. I come to the table with a philosophy that I want incremental progress. I'm not the smartest guy in the world. If you try to get an ordinance that pleases everybody in this room, we talk about it forever and never do anything. So I want incremental progress. I want to do it better this year than last year and every day we're in business. We've got a lot on our plate. The Port of Galveston is a major part of my focus the next 2 years. But we have, in many cities, we have basically bankrupt pension plans that's got to be dealt with. We have water capacity issues. You know, we want to grow. I'm not sure how much more we can grow given the fact that we can only get a certain amount of potable water. So we have some long-term issues that need to be dealt with. But you haven't seen anything yet, folks. You know, if you think you've had capital improvements in the last 6 months, I know my opponent down here keeps talking about CDBG. The north side of Broadway, west of 25th Street, will no longer be the stepchild in this city. It's going to be the place to be. You're going to want to be there yourself. You're going to live there and work there. We're getting ready to put new fire stations, new public buildings, moving some of our people in employment down there. It is going to be a vibrant area in this city. It is our best long-term hope to get people to move back here. For a lot of us, I say north of Broadway, you have a negative connotation. If you're a newcomer coming across UTMB for the first time, north of Broadway's direction. You know, we've got to hold our standards higher. We have let our standards slip in this town over the years. We must expect better from ourselves. I learned a long time ago, we will rarely exceed our own expectations. If we don't shoot for the stars and hit for the moon, it won't happen. You know, we can't have a negative attitude. We have to have a, what I call a can-do, will-try attitude. It may not work. If it doesn't, we'll find another solution. But I enjoy being your mayor. I appreciate you letting me serve in that capacity. And I ask for your vote May 7th. Thank you.
Let's have one final round of applause, please, for Mr. Jonathan Tromm and Britt Blackett again for organizing.